The room is dimly lit. A heavy atmosphere hangs over the auction hall in Missoula County, Montana. A dog lies lifeless on the concrete floor, its empty eyes and scars telling the story of cruelty and abandonment. This dog, an exhausted German Shepherd, bears visible marks of a dark past, a past marked by battles that were never his own. His fur is dulled by time and suffering. A heavy silence fills the room, then a voice breaks through. "Damaged goods," someone whispers. The dog's gaze, cold and indifferent, seems to ignore the audience. A nervous laugh echoes through the room. The starting bid, $50, a paltry price for what could be a story of tears and struggles. No one moves. No one answers the call for the bid. Then, in a dark corner of the room, a man stands up. He wears an old, worn sailor's jacket, his imposing figure contrasting with the somber mood of the room. His footsteps echo in the silence. The look in his eyes, a mix of pain and resilience, fixates on the dog. He steps forward, and in a firm but pained voice, he breaks the silence. "I'll take him." This man is Ethan Walker. At 34 years old, he bears the scars of the wars he's fought, both internal and external. For the past 3 years, he has lived in seclusion on his grandfather's ranch, a place that serves as a refuge for his suffering. He hadn't planned to come here, but a simple newspaper article caught his attention. An abandoned military dog, deemed too dangerous to be adopted, one last chance before euthanasia. The thought that a 4-legged veteran could be abandoned to such a fate enrages Ethan. He couldn't stay there without doing something. As he watches the dog, Ethan sees something familiar: the suffering. The emptiness in its eyes is the same emptiness he faces every morning in his own reflection. This dog is him, or at least a version of himself. The veterinarian, Claire Thompson, approaches and gives him some information about the animal. He's been here for 3 weeks, he refuses to eat, and no one can get close to him. But that's not what Ethan sees. His eyes fixate on the dog with new determination. "What's his name?" he asks. "Zero," Claire replies, "because that's all he represents to them." The name of this dog is a symbol of nothingness, a number in a file. Ethan observes the dog, and with gentleness he murmurs, "That won't be your name. I'm going to give you a better one." A moment later, without warning, the dog lunges. It attacks, aiming for Ethan's throat. It's a quick strike, an instinctive blow, but Ethan doesn't retreat. He stands still, facing the beast, and in a heavy silence, their gazes meet. A mutual understanding settles in, a silent recognition, shared pain. Then unexpectedly, the dog withdraws. It wasn't an attack. It was a test of survival, a way to know if Ethan could be trusted. "My God, he should have been put down," someone murmurs. Ethan doesn't respond. "No," he says calmly. "He's coming with me." The first step of the journey toward redemption begins. This journey will not be easy for either of them, but it begins. The drive to the ranch is silent, tense. In the back of the vehicle, the dog is nervous. Every muscle in his body is tense, ready to react. Ethan, silent, continues to speak to him softly. He talks about the ranch, the vast fields, the quiet mornings, and the hope of a future where the dog can finally break free from the past. Ethan doesn't know if the dog is listening, but speaking helps ease his own wounds. It's an act of silent healing. When the vehicle finally arrives at the ranch, Ethan gently opens the door and waits. The dog doesn't move. Minutes pass, long and heavy. Then slowly, one paw touches the ground, followed by the other. The dog steps forward cautiously. No jerky movements, no signs of impatience. Ethan shows him a quiet spot, a shelter to offer the space he needs. But the dog, even though he accepts the place, keeps his distance. He's not yet ready to trust. Ethan doesn't insist. Trust is earned, it cannot be commanded. The first days on the ranch are marked by challenges. The dog, now called Shadow by Ethan, keeps his distance. He watches Ethan's every move, every gesture. He stays alert, his eyes always vigilant, every new sound or movement making him flinch. Ethan speaks to Shadow every day. He never forces him to approach, he simply gives him space. He talks to him about the other animals on the ranch, the beautiful landscapes, the moments of peace he finds here. Patience becomes their common language, A few days after his arrival, Claire returns to examine Shadow. As soon as she approaches, the dog shows extreme distrust. He growls, his muscles tensing. Claire steps back slightly. "This isn't just mistrust," she says. "He associates medical instruments with bad memories." "Someone hurt him." Ethan nods. He knows this isn't just physical injury, but deeper wounds. The dog carries the marks of psychological pain, suffering from a past that, until now, remains shrouded in mystery. Days pass. Shadow slowly begins to adapt to his new environment. Then one day, Claire returns with news. She's managed to obtain documents from the Pentagon, secret reports on Shadow's past. An ex-military dog, decorated for his missions, but with blank spots in his file. A period of 6 months during which Shadow disappeared, as if someone had erased his traces. Ethan goes through the documents. He feels a contained rage. "What did they do to you, old man?" he murmurs, looking up at the dog. Shadow stares at him, as if he understands. Ethan makes a decision. They will uncover the truth. The following days are marked by progress, but also setbacks. Ethan reads the reports over and over, trying to understand what they did to Shadow. Claire explains the injuries, marks of torture and experimentation. Ethan, shocked, realizes that Shadow was used inhumanely. Shadow starts to show signs of emotion. One morning, while Ethan is sitting on the porch, he sees Shadow approach, hesitantly. The dog takes one step, then another until he brushes Ethan's hand. This gesture, timid but significant, marks a turning point in their relationship. Then one evening, a storm breaks out over the ranch. Lightning flashes across the sky. Ethan hears a distant rumble. Shadow freezes. His eyes scan the darkness, ready to defend his master. Ethan spots a figure approaching. In the wild night, a face appears. A woman soaked by the rain, her eyes filled with distress. She introduces herself. "I know what happened to Shadow.